Good evening, Thailand, Malaysia, and around the world. Please welcome Suthichai Yoon. He's a media icon in Thailand with millions of followers. He's a Thai journalist, a TV personality, author, and is now a social media journalism figure. He has over 50 years experience in the media. He was the CEO of the Nation Multimedia Group, founder and editorial director of The Nation. Today, he's a TV anchor. He is 74 years old, but he doesn't look like he's 74 years old. And he has continued to be the leading voice of Thai journalism. Please welcome the award-winning Suthichai. Suthichai, welcome, good evening, and thank you
Th-
for finding time with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You
It's a
look
great
good.
honor. It's a great honor to be on your program,
Thank you,
Chunwai.
sir.
Mhm,
Okay, Suthichai, we will dive to it. You have been in the media business, newspaper
mhm,
and TV for over 50 years, but you have
mhm,
gone into social media journalism in a strong way by setting
mhm,
up Suthichai Live a few years back.
mhm.
Please tell us more about your new venture and in this new field.
Uh-huh. Well, you can see this is my T-shirt.
Yes,
It's Suthichai Live, and it is what it says. Live. It's always live.
good.
Anywhere, anytime, any topic. I started Suthichai Live at least 5 years ago when I was
Okay,
still with the nation.
okay.
And I was close to 70 years old then.
Mhm.
And I decided that once I retire from the nation group, after 47 years, I would use social media to continue my conversation, my dialogue with the audience. When I started doing live on Facebook Live for the first time about 5 years ago, I found it very exciting, Chunwai.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because when I was doing TV, I was doing TV for about 20 years. I was in print journalism for 47, 48 years, and on radio as well.
Mhm.
And the only main obstacle was the means of communication.
Mhm.
When you were doing newspaper, you get sometimes letters to the editor. Maybe if you get a few letters a week, you are so excited. You say,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is great feedback because I have readers. When I do radio, I don't usually get any feedback.
Okay.
I mean, before social media, right? You have to guess whether the audience likes it or not.
Mhm.
When I was doing TV before social media, I couldn't find out whether a particular program on a certain day was good for the audience or not. And then usually my readers, my listeners would be 40 years old up.
Mhm.
But when I started trying Facebook Live, I found a very exciting new element
Mhm.
to the whole thing because I could get feedback instantly. I could reach a lot of people who otherwise I couldn't reach through TV or radio. But when it started about 4, 5, 6 years ago, I was in the newsroom in Nation TV. And
Mhm.
then one young reporter came to me and said, Kun Suthichai, now you can do live on Facebook. I said, what? What do you mean? He said, yeah, you can do live on Facebook on the mobile phone. Should why? When I heard that, I turned to the reporter and I said, show it to me that you can really do it. Come on, don't fool me. I don't believe it. So he said, yeah, let's do it. So I said, okay. So he held up the mobile phone and he said, okay, Kun Surichai, start talking. We are live. Really? So I started talking. And then it was live. You know, Junwai, my
Yeah.
first reaction was, this is the end of television.
Mm.
But I did not tell the young TV reporter that. My immediate instinct was that, hey, the next victim of this digital transformation disruption would be TV.
Yes.
Because newspapers before that had already suffered from
Yes.
the fact that you could read on the mobile phone, you can go to an internet and get the story. Breaking news was on mobile phone before. You can print the story the next day. That was the first shock for us newspaper people.
Correct.
Newspaper was being replaced by social media.
Yeah.
Then TV. And when I saw that I could do live on Facebook, my immediate reaction was that I must try it. I must do it. And I must jump into it. And believe me, Chunwai, you can never tell newspaper people, TV people in their environment to believe it. The first reaction was, no, this does not work. Because TV is TV. Nothing is going to replace TV because people have to watch us. People have to get our schedule. People have to listen to our reporters because our reporters are professional people. There was no way anything could replace it. Maybe some little, gimmick on mobile phone, maybe possible, but not anything that we should worry about. But I was worried. I was paranoid because I believed what some tech giants used to say. Only the paranoid survive. So I started to do it. At first, it was quite haphazard. It was quite primitive, I didn't have any idea of I could do, what we are doing now. I could interview people. I could really go live anywhere. No, it was very, very primitive. I sit down and I turn on Facebook and I push live and I could say things, but, no one was watching really. So that's how I started. And then, things changed. And when things change these days, it doesn't rain, it pours. I mean, it is a perfect storm. So that's how I got started. And when I officially retired from the nation 4 years ago, my agreement, my contract with the company was I would retire at the age of 70.
Okay.
I may continue to write for them. I may continue to be a consultant, but I wanted my time to do it on social media. So, when I was 74 years ago, next year would be the 5th year. I started doing Suthichai Live, and this is what you see now is my studio, my home studio, the bookshelf there, and you can see my iPhone, my microphone, everything is here. So it is my new life, Chunwai. And I invite everyone, every journalist, every aspiring reporter of the new digital era to jump in because I have seen the future and it is now. It is what it is, what you see now.
Well done, Suthichai. I must say that, Suthichai, you have always been an inspiring figure for me. I've always looked up to you in a very great way. And that when you told me some years back that, you must join in this social media journalism, I was hesitate a while. But a few months back, because I'll be ending my position in the Star as a editorial advisor on January 1st. So for the past few months, like you, before my actual retirement, I've been toying with this idea that I say, hey, Suthichai has been telling me to do this for a while. So now after 3 months, I've decided to dive into this social media experiment. I've really embraced it because, like you say, the difference between print, radio, and TV is that social media journalism allow us to have direct engagement with their audience. And we even know where they are from. Are they from Africa, UK, or where immediately?
Yeah. And in fact, if you collect information, the data, you know who they are, where they live, and their occupations. And you create a community.
Yes.
On TV and newspaper, we call them readers and audience. But on social media, it is a community.
Yes.
And a community means you engage one another. That is why it's so exciting, because you get to know them quite well. And another very revealing thing is that you find out yourself. I was in a restaurant last year. There was a young kid walked up to me and said, "Uncle Suthichai, I'm 15 years old and I watch you." I said, "What? You watch me? How?" "On mobile phone." "You watch me on mobile phone? Why?" "Oh, it started with my dad watching you. And then I was sitting next to him and I started to watch, and I got very interested in what you were saying, because I could never get this on TV.
Yes.
Because you were talking about international news, you talk about Kim Jong-un, you talk about Donald Trump, you talk about the war, which I could never get on TV. And a few minutes later, a woman walked up to me and said, "This is my son." And I said, "Hey, your son just told me that he watches me on YouTube." I said, yeah, it's true. I confirm it. And she told me, "You know, at home, my son, myself, and my father all watch you." Hey, that to me was really something I had not expected at all. 3 generations watching you, because they could not find the content you offer on the conventional media platforms. So that's why it confirms, every time you do something new, it confirms your belief, your conviction that social media is the place to go. And you have to try it out, and you have to reach out. Then you will find out that all the hesitation you had a few years ago was nonsense, and you wasted too much time hesitating.
Suthichai, let me share with you something. Okay, because that social media is available across the boundaries of your country, I will tell you something interesting. There is a Thai worker at a nearby restaurant near my house, and he knows that I work in the media. So he asked me, "ChunWai, do you know that I've been following this man from Thailand? Because I'm from Thailand, I need to follow Thai TV, Thai news." And he says that, then he showed me your face, Suthichai Yoon, in Malaysia. And I told him, "He's my friend. I've got my phone to show, to prove that he's my friend." So it's not just Thailand, but in Malaysia, and I'm sure the Thai community from around the world.
Yeah, because on social media, the world is the community.
Yes.
That's something that the traditional journalists don't realize. They still believe in the old mindset that your audience is limited, restricted to Thailand. It's not true. Let me tell you another story. A few years back, when I started to do social media, Facebook Live, I tried to get former Prime Minister Mahathir on my program. It was very difficult, but I tried. So I wrote email, I sent messages to his assistant for a few weeks. And then eventually he agreed to go live with me on Facebook. And I asked him why. After the interview on Facebook, I said, "Mr. Mahathir, why did you agree to talk to me?" He said, "Because I cannot go on TV in Malaysia." He was in the opposition, right?
Yes.
"I could not reach the media at all. So when I talk to you, I know that people in Malaysia can watch you and can watch us." You see?
Fantastic.
You see, it transcends the border. It transcends politics. That's why, to me, any journalist who fails to join social media journalism are not really meeting the challenge of the day. So I'm happy that ChunWai, you are now joining. You are now coming on board, and I hope you can convince a lot of younger journalists to do it before it's too late.
Yes, Suthichai, when you started this 5 years ago, you said that you were a one-man show. I understand that your outfit has now become almost a big production house with a lot of team members in the crew. Is that correct?
No, it's only 5-6 people.
Only 5-6 people.
Yeah. And you know what? They can do everything. They can shoot, because I also do interviews outside. I go on site to interview people.
Yes. Yeah.
I travel to the provinces. I still do some TV programs for 2 TV stations. So I go out and I shoot. And on the way, I tape a lot of interviews that I use on social media. And they edit for me.
Yes.
They shoot for me. They are coordinators for me. They call people up, you know, fixing interviews. They also do marketing for me.
I see.
My advertisers, they get in touch with my people because I do not answer phone directly from potential customers or interviewees. They, you know, take phone calls for me and they coordinate. I also do events. I do events. I get talk show, which is also live on my program. So I do events that can be on Facebook Live as well. That's how I get my sponsors. That's how I get people to support my Facebook Live, my events, my activities in the provinces and in Bangkok. So this is a very small operation. Six people, young people who I train to be able to do everything. They're not only camera people. They're not only an editor. They must be able to shoot, edit, organize events, call up the potential interviewees, and this is the new generation of social media, media people, media professionals. You may not call them journalists anymore. You may call them social media professionals. And I think this is why I'm hopeful that the new generation of young people will be able to continue in this field.
I like it because the minute you mention customers, business model, events, my eyes light up because that like everything, there must be it must make revenue, or else that we cannot afford to pay our crew.
Yeah.
So, Suthichai, you know that there is a vacuum in this social media journalism in that quality like yours, because that when we look at social media, there's lots of flimsy, fluffy stuff. You know that it's comic stuff. You know, it's gossipy stuff. But real journalism, meaningful, impactful journalism that yours is really missing. And I think that professional trained journalists like us can fill in this particular gap by embracing and using social media tools.
I agree totally. There is a big gap for serious journalism on social media.
Yeah,
there are YouTubers who are very good at entertainment, light stuff, comics, you know, comedians. They are very good and they have their own community.
Yeah,
but serious professional journalism, no, it is lacking in every country.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap to fill.
Yes.
And people like you and me who have been in journalism for over 30, 40 years can fill this gap.
Yes.
And you can train the new generation of journalists. Maybe those who are somewhere in the middle, right? 30 years old, 40 years old, who are now sort of lost as to whether they have a future or not, whether they will have to find something else to do because they're too afraid to try this, because they say, not many people watch me. What do I say on social media? There's no money in it, which is all not true at all.
Yep.
If you dive into it and you explore along the way, of course, it's not going to be overnight success. No one promises you overnight success. You have to find your own way, your own formula, your own community. And I'm sure if you have done good reporting, political reporting, economic reporting, social media reporting, or you are devoted to covering a particular area, such as energy, such as IT, such as stock market, investment, whatever. Just be specialized, just deeper than any other media outlet can offer. You know what? On election day, American election, presidential election day, November the 3rd, I was on the whole day
Yes.
whole day. And you know what I did? I invited experts in Thailand, all
A huge,
professionals.
you had a huge number,
Yeah,
stable.
yeah.
Oh, guess.
20
Oh,
university lecturers, former diplomats, and I invited them. I said, I want you to join me that day anytime you are free, and just join me. I'll be in front of the camera the whole day, whole night, until we know the results of the election. And they were all excited
yeah.
because they had a chance to talk, to analyze.
Yeah.
TV cannot do that.
Yes.
TV has a specific program, specific time, and specific audience.
Yes.
But when these people know that a lot of people can watch them on their mobile phones, we do predictions. We talk to Thais in America. We talk to Americans in Thailand. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And the ratings went shot up. This is how you can do it on any major event. You make it a big deal. And of course, Chunwai, you have been here long enough to know so many people that will be happy to join you.
Yes.
I have created a community of professionals, lecturers, university people, young thinkers, former diplomats, government officials who specialize in all these things. And you don't need too many people to help you. You talk to them online, and Facebook, and you say, hey, are you free tomorrow morning? Just this morning, I asked the Director General of the Trade Negotiations Department, Commerce Ministry, to come this morning talk about RCEP. That was signed yesterday. ASEAN, China, South Korea, Japan. And I asked her to explain where do Thai people benefit from RCEP. Please talk in plain language. Please talk in such a way that a taxi driver can understand what the hell RCEP is all about. And you got it. And it's easy because they want to talk. They want to explain. It's their job to try to explain to the people. And we have the platform for them.
Yes.
And we ask questions that normal people would ask.
Yes.
So, every topic is possible. So there you are. It's so rich in content. It is so convenient. And Chunwai is so inexpensive to operate.
Correct. With newspaper, is still reporting yesterday's news. With TV, it's very scripted, very stiff, and that there's no spontaneity. The audience or followers do not feel like you're talking, having a conversation with them. You're chatting in a coffee shop, kopitiap, that's really missing. And I think that this serves a lot of purpose. And of course, I think what we're trying to fill up, of course, is this large group of affluent, matured audience, which has been neglected by the other social media content providers. So we hope that
you also get a lot of young people. You also get a lot of young people. Young people are now quite serious about topics. We used to think that young people may not really are into any political discussions, any serious international dialogue. It's not true, because when we thought in the past that they were not interested, it's because they never got access to this kind of content that we could provide. You will find, to your surprise, that everyone is your community, member of your community, if you reach out to them and get them to talk. They can be politicians, they can be a young student, they can be an LGBT advocate, they can be an engineer or a pilot. There's so many stories in our countries to report on, to talk in depth. And there's no limit to the time. You can talk for 15 minutes, you can talk half an hour, you can talk 2 hours,
Yes.
Nothing can stop you. If it's fun, you go on talking. I mean it's getting, a bit boring. You just stop.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah. Suthichai, you know that I've always admire you because you have never stopped learning. You embrace social media at a very old age, so to speak. Okay, now, what do you tell the students who are doing mass comm in universities, and you use the word the mass media has collapsed. Okay, that's a strong word. So they are studying mass comm now. They know that when they come out from university, they might not get a job. And with this COVID-19 situation, it's going to be even worse. What do you tell them?
I tell them that don't worry too much about your degree. It's not going to be important. When you step out of university, when you go to apply for a job, they will not ask you, how did you do in your, last year? What were you good at? They will ask you one very simple question: what can you do? Can you shoot? Can you edit? Can you talk live? Can you tell a story in a very informal way on social media? You will find fewer jobs on TV anyway.
Yes.
TV stations are not recruiting new people. They are, in fact, releasing people. Yeah, they're trenching. No newspapers job anymore. But newspapering, TV anchoring, TV reporting are all on social media now.
Yes.
So I would tell them that start doing it now and learn from it. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can be 17, 18, 19. Do it. Try to tell stories on social media, and you will find your own self of where you are good at. And watch other people do it and learn from it. And maybe you can have a career even before your graduation. And you don't have to know everything. You just try to find a field where you love, your passion. What is your passion? If you like growing, vegetable, just do it and do the story. Every day you talk to people on the social media about what you do. There was a Thai woman in Sweden who loves vegetable, Thai vegetable, and som tam.
Yes.
So she appears on her Facebook Live once or twice every week, showing people how to do som tam, and what kind of vegetable she uses, and why it is so healthy and so tasteful. And she asked her friends, her husband, who is a foreigner, to sit down and talk about Thai food, pad Thai. She has a great community. And you know what? She makes money out of what? She has a little factory in Thailand that produces the nam chim. It is the gravy for som tam. Gravy, Thai sort of gravy. Just like, nam prik sriracha, And she sells. Why she does the story? She get orders from through Facebook. This is a new marketing tool. People do business, tell stories on Facebook Live. There is a great story of a successful guy who has been making a lot of money selling dried fish, dry shrimps from Satun in the south. Satun is very near Malaysia. He started as a guy who used to do some TV work, but he wasn't very successful. He was a son of a fisherman in Satun. One day he told his father, he said, "Dad, I see people selling blue jeans, selling all kind of stupid things on Facebook Live. I think I will sell something too." The father said, "No way, you're crazy. You can never sell anything. Forget it." He said, no, I like to do it. So he started trying. He said, so his father asked him, "What do you want to sell?" Said, "Well, we have fish here, dry fish. And in our backyard, fish come up every day from the sea, and they have this dry fish, they have this salted fish, and they have this dry, very tasty shrimp, dry shrimp, very, very famous." So he said, so I started one day on my Facebook Live on my mobile phone, just me and myself. And I started to talk about, I want to sell my dry fish. If you're interested, please send the order in my inbox and this. He said, the first week, only 5 people watched me. My father, my mother, my wife, and my 2 children. So he said, I almost gave up. But then after that, I asked myself, why don't more people watch me? So he said, I decided I must tell stories instead of just telling things.
Yeah.
So I started to think of telling stories, interesting stories. The best stories I could tell was around me. So I started going out with my mobile phone to talk to the fishermen who had just come out from the sea and ask them, how was the day? Hey, was the wind strong? How much did you get? Hey, show me what was your catch today?
Yes.
So more people started to watch him. So he started to say, if you have anything to sell, please come to me. All these villagers in his village.
Yeah.
So a lot of fishermen started to say, hey, I have this dry fish, I have this gung hang, the dry shrimp, I have cashew nuts, all this. So he started to say, okay, I'm starting to sell this. I tell my story and say, if you want dry fish, this is a very tasty dry shrimp. So he tasted it in front of the camera. I said, wow, so good. This is and that. So he started telling stories and that. The number of people watching me started to climb, So he started to have, say, about a few hundred. So he started to sell. And, he started to sell maybe a few hundred baht a day. And then he expanded his stories. He talked to more people. He got his father, who is a veteran fisherman, to tell the story of his life. How did you start fishing? Why is fishing such an important part of the South? Why is it that the young generation here are not interested in fishing anymore? So he started telling the story of the community. After 1 year, his daily sales of dry fish, cashew nut, dry shrimp went up to about 200,000 baht a day. All right.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years afterwards, he sells 15 million baht.
Wow.
A month. He's a millionaire now.
The power of social media.
Power of social media.
Yeah.
And then you know what he did? He sort of changed the face of Suthichai. He told me that when I started selling and I started saying, if you want this, please confirm it on my inbox.
Okay.
So I said, and he said, I will deliver it to you whatever province you are and pay me afterwards.
Oh.
First thing he did, how do you send this damn thing? How do you deliver it? So we went to the local branch of Curry,
yes.
delivery. Yeah. He went in, he walked into the branch of the local branch of Curry. He said, everyone was sleeping, no work because there was. So he started, hey, I have something to send. So the Curry kids, okay, good. In a few months' time, every delivery service in town came to him for business. The bank came to him.
Wow.
Because the bank saw that there was payment, right? So the banks came to offer him payment service, mobile payment service. And he said, and when I started to sell and then I collect upon delivery, I lost a lot of money. Because some of those who ordered my product refused to pay. Or they cheated on me. So I changed my strategy. I put a big banner in front of my program and say, if you pay in advance on this number, I will give you a 5% discount. So he got his payments issue settled. The banks came, the delivery companies came, the villagers came to him because they wanted him to sell.
I see.
So he started an industry. Chunwai, this is one of the great stories that a common guy in the provinces, all he had was a mobile phone and a proper mindset. You can say anything if you have good stories to tell. We are reporters, we are journalists, we have stories to tell.
And we are storytellers.
Right? We are storytellers, right?
Accurate storytellers.
Professional, accurate storytellers.
Suthichai, how often do you go on live? How often in a day?
But normally, usually, average of 2 times a day. Morning, 9 o'clock, and evening 8 o'clock.
Why do you choose this two particular time?
Because it's convenient for me. I don't have to wake up too early. I wake up, I exercise, I have my breakfast, and then I have my, everything is ready. So life has to be good. Chunwai. People think that, my God, you must really, working so hard. You have no time to rest. How do you survive? Your health must be bad. No, I said no. My personal health, my personal happiness must be there first before I can do any good things on social media. So I have to plan my work schedule to fit my lifestyle. And believe me, most of the people who follow you would understand.
Yes.
Once they see that this is your regular routine, then they'll follow you.
Yes.
Because on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, if they subscribe to you, there is an alert to everyone. When you go live, they say, Suthichai is live now. It doesn't matter. It's 8:30, 9 o'clock. They will get the alert. They are in the taxi, they're in the office, they are having a cup of tea, they are talking to friends. They see the alert and they say, hey, let's listen to Suthichai. What is he talking about? So it doesn't matter. You just have to plan it in such a way that there is more or less, but not a fixed routine. More or less, because we are journalists. Yes. When there's breaking news, you have to break it.
Yes.
To convince your followers that this guy I can depend on for good breaking news too, right? So you create sort of a following who believe, who have the trust in you that you will be the personal friend who would give them the analysis of the news that they follow. Secondly, when there's an important big story, you are with them. So this is how I have been able to create a sort of community that has become quite part of my life now, Junbai. You can feel it.
Suthichai, you also appear on TV, right?
Yeah, some of my TV stations still ask me to do. So I have 2 weekly programs, and twice a week I also do foreign news analysis. So I still have TV programs, but they're all also on social media.
Okay.
TV and social media go out together for them, for the TV station.
You have the honor of being the first at the Suthichai artificial intelligence, an artificial intelligence personality that's modeled after you, speaking like you, even with your iconic sunglasses, and of course even with the southern accent from Songkla. Okay. How did that happen? It's really amazing. Tell me more about it.
Well, about 3 years ago, was a group of young technicians, expert in programming from it's a government unit called NICTEC. NICTEC is the National Electronic and Technology Agency. They came to me with a very strange request. They said, Kun Suthichai, we would like to get all your TV programs, your voice. We want your voice for the past 10 years.
Wow.
To get permission from you to experiment with from text to voice innovation. I said, what? I don't understand what they're trying to do, At that time, there was no such word as AI yet, but it was an artificial intelligence project. So I said, yeah, you go to the TV stations and get all the voice. They will give you. If they give it to you, then yeah, I'll give you permission to experiment with it. So they explained to me, and I was quite excited. They said that now with this AI, we could create a pattern of your voice. Your voice, even your style, even the pace of your speech. And all we have to do is, if we get enough pattern, then we know when you say a certain word, how do you say it? And not only the similarity of your real voice, it's the rhythm of how you say it also. I said, really? You can do that? I don't believe it. I said, yeah, we are experimenting with it. So, they disappeared for 3 years and they came back. Yeah.
So you thought it was gone. Back. That's it.
Yeah, I thought, all these kids are, dreaming, and they were just cheating me and making me confused. So they came back and they showed it to me. And they said, we are creating an avatar, your look-alike, and your voice. And we have so far developed up to about 70%. I say, yeah, 70% is good enough. Show it to me. So, they show it to me. And then I was surprised because I didn't say anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
They said they typed something. They type a paragraph and then they put it inside. And the AI can transform that, convert the text into my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. So it is possible. And they are improving on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're making the voice even more similar, even more real.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked them, I said, hey, now I can die. You don't need me anymore. Yeah, they said, but more or less, yes, more or less, you see, because AI can recognize your voice, the rhythm, the way you say things.
Yeah.
So the AI can only need the text. What do you want me to say? The AI was, what do you want me to say? And the next step is interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Interaction. You can now talk to Siri, right, on iPhone. Siri, more or less the same technology. That is that they can listen to you, and if you get enough pattern of your answers, then they can react, they can interact. So I think in the next few years, this Suthichai AI will continue to improve to the point that AI Suthichai and me can interview each other.
Yeah, I think there's one episode where you guys interview each other. It's starting.
Yeah. And the sentences spoken by Suthichai AI was only from text, not from. I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the beginning of a very, very exciting thing, and you can do it, Chunwai.
นี่คุณคือสุทธิชัย AI จริงเหรอ
ใช่สิผมสุทธิชัย AI
แล้วคุณจะมาแทนผมจริงๆเหรอ
ใช่ผมทำหน้าที่ได้ดีไม่แพ้คุณ
เฮ้ย ผมก็ตกงานสิ อย่างนั้นก็ไม่ต้องมีสุทธิชัยตัวจริงแล้วสิ
ใช่สุทธิชัยตัวจริงไม่ต้องอยู่ก็ได้ ผมทำหน้าที่แทนได้ทุกอย่าง ไม่แน่อาจเก่งกว่าสุทธิชัยตัวจริงด้วย
เอานะสู้กัน วิเคราะห์ข่าวเรื่องเดียวกันทีละคนสุทธิชัยตัวจริงเสร็จแล้วสุทธิชัย AI วิเคราะห์ข่าวแข่งกันดูสิว่าใครแน่กว่ากันเอาไหม
สบายมากแข่งกันใช่ไหมเอาเลยเมื่อไหร่เมื่อนั้นลาไปก่อนสวัสดีครับ
So in Malaysia, you should be the first to do it.
Okay.
And, I can introduce you to the team.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah. And I want you to experiment with it, because there's no harm in trying. If it fails, we are back to the square one. That's all.
Yes,
but if it works, it's going to be so exciting, so revolutionary that we will be there, and we will be the first one to be in the new world of journalism, right?
Yes. Suthichai, we are still on the subject of content. You know that people from around the world, doesn't matter whether they are Thais or whether they are Malaysians or Singaporeans, you know that many people do not want to pay for content. They will pay for Netflix, they will pay for Spotify, they will even pay a large sum of money for their Starbucks coffee, but they will never pay a little money for content, for news. How do we grapple with this issue where people want it for free?
Well, I realized that it's not easy to get people to pay for content. So I started with the idea of getting revenue from sponsors,
yes,
events.
Mm-hmm.
Then I hope that I can slowly get paid by content.
Mhm.
Now I get paid by YouTube,
Yeah. Okay.
not a big sum, because they get my content and they get advertising on the thing, and they don't tell me how much they pay me in terms of percentage of their revenue, but I start to get paid by YouTube, and now Facebook also will start to pay for content.
Mhm.
So in the beginning, uh, my strategy is to get sponsors. The way I get sponsored is I go to talk to companies
Mhm.
and business people. And my point is media are undergoing a major transition.
Mhm.
Conventional media will be left behind. You should be part of the new media landscape. And I want you to join me from the ground up. If I'm taking this lift, I want you to be in the lift on ground floor with me.
Mhm.
Because when I go up to the 10th floor, and when I open the door, you may not be there anymore. You see? So please join me in creating something new for the country.
Mhm.
This media scene will change totally. And they see it, you see, they see it. They used to get advertising agencies to create ads for them and pay a hell lot of money for TV for each spot, you know,
Yes.
TV, radio, newspaper. They used to have this budget, advertising
Yep.
budget.
Yep.
They now also have CSR budget.
Yes.
They are now also have PR budget.
Yes.
So, I talk to these companies and I try to convince them that, I will produce content that I think you can be proud of,
Mhm.
that there will be serious journalism,
Yes.
that is not only entertainment that can sell,
Mhm.
that we need really good content so that the country's political system, social system can work on. Otherwise, you're going to see TV stations doing all this entertainment, all this light stuff, all this drama, all these stupid things just to get ratings.
Yeah.
No, I really talked to them seriously. I said, we need a society that has really good content.
Yeah.
So, I invite you to be part of my sponsorship program. So I tell them what I do. I say, in the morning, in the evening, I'll put your logo there. And if you have any interesting, topics to discuss, I'm ready to discuss with you and put on my program.
Mhm.
So some of these companies have very good content to talk about. Because of these new companies, young
Yes.
CEOs, they talk about innovation.
Mhm.
They talk about their own disruption. Their business is also disrupted.
Yes.
So I get all these sponsors, and then sometimes I interview them about their way of
Mhm.
coping with disruption as well. So the content is great, and they are part of the content. And also, I also do events so that the sponsors will also be part of the events as well.
Yes.
This is how in the past 3 years I've been doing it, and it's good. Junwai,
Yeah.
you can survive comfortably, and you
Well,
have enough people who know you, whom you can talk frankly. Like I
yeah.
told my friends in the business circle that, hey, you have to be part of this,
Mhm.
because we have to work to make sure the media will transform into something that are constructive, that the content will be professional,
Yes.
and that I think the younger generation need to see good example like us.
Yes.
So believe me, big
Yes.
companies, medium-sized companies, the professionals will be ready to be part of your project. You just have to be passionate enough
Yeah.
to show them that I am serious.
Thank you for the
Because if
advice.
they think that you're just playing around, maybe you give up in 3 months, they will not. You see, they would not want to be part of it. But if you show them your project, explain to them how you want to do it, and a series activities, the daily content activities, events, and then maybe a talk show.
Yes.
You can invite people from various to talk about a topic that is current, that of interest. Then people will, and you do it live,
Yeah.
right? You even go to a particular auditorium, you invite people and you broadcast it live on your social media.
So Suthichai, how long did it take for you before your Suthichai life really took it off in a big way? What was the first year like, and at what point did it actually shot up?
I nearly didn't really worry too much about it because I didn't want to just get good ratings. I wanted people to be really the fan club, meaning that they have trust in you. So in the beginning, you can get a few hundred people watching you live every day.
Yeah.
A few thousand views, it's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just be persistent. Keep on doing it. 3 months, 6 months time. Once your appearance is regular, people will come.
Yes.
And people will share. People will share. People will talk about you. And then if you really offer them the content that they cannot find anywhere else, that is only you, ChunWai brand, the ChunWai brand, the trust, the professionalism, the consistency, the honesty, then you're going to be the first in Malaysia to create this community. But don't worry too much about whether, today you have 50 people watching you, tomorrow you should have 200. No. If it's 50 today, it's 40 tomorrow, it's okay. Just keep on doing it. But get some business friends to be with you and say, okay, we'll give you it's a small sum of sponsorship, but let's do it together. So you get about 4 or 5 friends who say, okay, I will be one of the sponsors, and your names will be with me from the beginning.
Yes.
Join me from the ground floor. That's the way you put it.
Yeah. Thank you, Suthichai. We have spent almost 50 minutes talking about this.
I hope it's useful. I hope.
Oh, it's useful. Definitely. And I know.
And I want you to do it because the experience you have, the exposure you have, the community you have already created in your long professional life, you have the trust of the society. So if you lead the way, you're going to inspire a lot of other journalists to do it.
Yes.
Maybe you can also set up a team of journalists to to do it together, and on the way you learn on the way. You will have a different experience from mine, ChunWai. Every experience will be different. You will discover along the way that, oh, you have to adjust this. Oh, the program is too long. Oh, the topic is not current enough. Oh, we should get maybe 1 or 2 guys to talk together. Now you have Zoom. It's easy. I once or twice every month, I get a few people on Zoom, 4 or 5 people, and they chat, they argue, and you learn along the way.
Yes.
Right.
And of course, Suthichai, our hope is that now we have got Thailand, we have got Malaysia, and soon that you'll be able to form our circle of social media journalism club.
Yes, please.
We have been talking about this for a while. We must make it happen, and we will be examples of how our counterparts in ASEAN can join us.
Hey, I have an idea. Now that you mentioned this, we can do and start with once a week.
Yes.
We can do an ASEAN roundup. I can talk about what happens in Thailand. You talk about what happens in Malaysia. You get one from Singapore, one from the Philippines, or anyone who cares to join. Then we can start a weekly, just like this. We stay home, we do our homework, and we exchange what has happened in the past week in our respective country, right?
ASEAN this week.
ASEAN this week, right? This week there's election in Myanmar. Election in Myanmar, for example. We can talk about that.
Oh yeah, man.
I can talk about the demonstrations in Thailand. It happens every week, right? You can talk about the political situation, the latest, the economy, whatever. Okay?
Thank you, Suthichai, for
most welcome
for spending time with us. I really appreciate it that we've been able to engage and talk about this fantastic experiment. And for you, it's already a business. And that just remember to follow us from Bangkok, from Kuala Lumpur, from around the world. Please remember to like, follow, and share Suthichai and
Yes.
RealChunWai. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.